Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Boku no Hero Academia Season 2 Episode 22, and overall, like every week with this show, I thought it was a really good episode. There were some things I think they maybe could have handled better, but overall it was just super good, and any of the small stuff like that is just kind of nitpicky. But I mean, why review if not to discuss? So let's start from the beginning and go over some things and what I liked or didn't like about them. So the first thing we had up there was the Asui and Tokiyami exam. They went up against Ectoplasm, and I think one of the biggest things I liked about this was the way they portrayed the teamwork and the way they both worked really well as a team putting those characters together. I like the mobility of it. I thought that was really cool, seeing them bounce around the room by having Tokiyami sling Asui via Dark Shadow, and then Asui grab him with her tongue and sling him as well. And to go back and forth like that, to move around in a really cool way, I thought that was awesome. In Ectoplasm's quirk, we get to find out for the first time in the anime, he can make 30 clones of himself, or 36 if he warms up his vocal cords with some karaoke first. And they talk about weaknesses and how they were each put in a certain situation to deal with their weaknesses, and Tokiyami's weakness is that he's super strong at a long distance where he can think and he has good attack power at a range. But if people can get in close on him, then his weakness in close combat can be exploited, and that's of course why he's with Ectoplasm, who can make the clones and outnumber him in close combat. So that was his weakness, and they didn't really have a weakness for Asui. She's pretty well rounded, but the issue here with her is how she was going to support him and deal with his weakness. So then at the very end, the real body of Ectoplasm at the gate makes a giant clone to go in and trap them. We have Dark Shadow versus Ectoplasm, which was really cool. I love the way the animation was done here. The OST was really good at this part as well. We find out that Tsuyu can store things inside of her stomach, and she had been storing the handcuffs, coughed them up, and Dark Shadow, after having them passed to him, slapped them on the ankle of the attacking Ectoplasm. So overall, it was really good. It was an interesting way to pass. It was just good writing, psychology, and all that. The team up was good. I like both characters. Really nothing to complain about that part. And the next exam we saw, no complaints about it either. Ida and Ojiro versus Power Loader was very fast, and while it's like you want to see a lot of each group and whatever and develop these characters more, it was actually good development and really good that it was so fast. It shows that sort of how the first test where they failed showed that this was serious, and if you don't take it serious, you're going to lose, or if you can't overcome your weakness, you're going to lose. This was a similar thing where it showed that now that Ida's out of that mindset of wanting revenge against Stain, Ida's back to being very good at planning and making decisions in the heat of the moment. So of course he was able to quickly make the decision, if I hesitate or something, we're not going to have any time, and Power Loader's going to create this sort of minefield of pitfalls. So what we need to do is run faster than he can catch up, and then at the end he had the split-second decision-making to say, I can throw you through the gate, and as long as one of us makes it, then we're good. So again, it was a quick test, but the test was good, and it did develop them, not Ojiro so much sadly, but Ida, in showing that he is very good at decision-making, and now that he's not blinded by the Stain stuff, he's got back into that really the good class president mode again. Then we have Todoroki versus Yaoyorozu, or Todoroki and Yaoyorozu versus Aizawa. I thought this was really good, but my complaint is also that they left some things out that were in the manga that I think would have helped this, and that maybe it felt a little rushed and they should have given more time to it. So with those complaints out of the way, I'll go through it part by part and kind of go through what I mean. Momo making the dolls was funny. I remember in the manga, I wasn't sure if it was here or not, but I remember in the manga, when she starts just popping Matryoshka dolls out, and they're Todoroki's like, what are you doing? What are those? And she explains it. We actually get a little bit of flashback there that I would have liked to have seen, where it's like, it explains why those in it was her as a little girl, and as a little girl, in order to learn her quirk, she needed to find something that she could make. And so she wrote down and figured out what a Matryoshka doll looks like, what it's made out of, and everything, and just made them again and again and again. And we saw the flashback with her learning her quirk by making those dolls again and again, which is why she can just so easily pop them out. And that made it a bigger deal when we found out that they were hollow and there were flashbangs in them. That sort of made it a bigger deal there. So I feel like, I don't know, I kind of feel like not having that in there did hurt the overall episode a little bit. But either way, Aizawa the ninja, I thought Aizawa was great here. Seeing him fight is always good. I like the whole style of, he's not really much of a physical quirk user. All he can do is stop other people's quirks, and yet he's still one of the most badass fighters when it comes to physical combat. Also how he, I just thought it was interesting how he tied up Todoroki and threw the caltrops under him. Okay, well, if you free yourself, you're going to have to try to land properly. But the big thing about this was Momo losing confidence and trying to build her confidence back. And for some reason, I feel like, again, the anime kind of went over this a little bit too quickly, to the point where it almost made Momo seem like one of those stereotypical whining female characters where she was running around whining and asking for somebody else, Todoroki, to do something for her instead of taking charge and doing it herself. Again, that's kind of the point, but I feel like it didn't translate as well in the anime as it did in the manga, and I think that leaving some stuff out and rushing through it a little bit is kind of what made that problem apparent. But Todoroki placing his hope in her and her coming around and showing that the Matryoshka dolls were flashbangs was all good, or they had flashbangs in them. We see that Aizawa's quirk now has a shorter runtime and a longer cooldown because of his injuries from USJ. Yorozu makes a copy of his weapon, but it has a memory-shape alloy in it, so that they can catapult it towards him and capture him by heating it up with Todoroki's quirk. All in all, a good plan, and I like as well that we saw that Aizawa said that it was because he was afraid of Todoroki, which may or may not be true, but it's more likely with his judgment that it wasn't a simple mistake, and he was giving her the chance to build her confidence back up because of what we learn with Recovery Girl calling him a softie, but also because he thought to himself earlier, I should be building her confidence up. That's not my job right now, but deep down he knows that that was what was right to do to make her into a hero. And at the end of the day, Aizawa was a very, very good teacher, so I do think that he sort of let them capture him a little bit on purpose, even though it kind of goes against what he should be doing for the test, because that's what would make them into the better heroes. Then at the very end, after the credits, we see the beginning of what we're going to see from Uraraka and Aoyama versus 13, and it seems like next episode we're going to see how Uraraka responds to the accusation that she likes Deku, but also it seems like from the preview we're going to see every other test, the next 4. Yeah, I guess we would finish out Uraraka and Aoyama. I think they're number 5, and then we would do 6, 7, 8, and 9. And if that's the case from what we see in the preview, from what we see in the promo for next week, then I feel like that's kind of rushed to force 4 tests into one thing, especially when I think 2 of those tests got an entire chapter each in the manga. I just feel like forcing them into one episode wouldn't be bad because the show's been very, very good if we didn't have a filler episode. But if they do that, then it makes me think, what was the point of the filler episode? Why give us a filler episode that was not totally filler, but a lot of it was? Why give us that if it means you have to rush this? Why not spend time and make sure that this is at least fleshed out and good? So I do think it might be a problem if all 4 of those are next week. And then I guess that would mean episode 24 would be Izuku and either Izuku and Bakugo would go episode 24 and 25, or it would only go 24, and then 25 would be just something else to an epilogue sort of leading us, or wrapping up this season leading into next. But yeah, either way, like I said, I thought it was really, really good. I loved the first test. I thought everything with Asui and Tokiyami was really, really great. I thought Ida Nojiro was really good as well, because it did develop the characters in showing Ida's fast decision-making skills. The Yaoyorozu and Todoroki test I thought was still really, really good. I absolutely enjoyed it. But then again, looking at it as well, I think it could have been done a lot better, and I think it was condensed a bit too much. Just leaving stuff out that I thought was kind of important and would have helped it be more emotional and get over the ideas and stuff more, and rushing it a little bit. Even though I thought it was good, it could have been much, much, much better. Also, it did leave me afraid. I was not afraid of any episode being rushed until this episode, and seeing how that was handled left me afraid that if all 4 of those tests are next episode, that it might be rushed, which would suck. I mean, I really want to see them fleshed out as much as they should be and can be. So it would suck if they are all 4 crammed together and not given enough time. But either way, like I said, I did think this was super, super good. I don't want to quite give it a 9 because of those things that were left out that I thought were kind of almost necessary to have it be fully what it should have been. So very, very close to 9, because it was still really a great episode. 8.75. 8.75 Matryoshka flashbangs out of 10. So either way, that's it. If you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this week's episode, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more Boku no Hero Academia, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. Of course, I review the manga and the anime each week. And then, when Season 2 ends, we're going to have to wait for Season 3, but I'll still be covering the manga. Yeah, I guess that's it. If you want a link to our Discord Discord server, then just ask and I'll give you one. That's it. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see you all next time.